Sal Paolantonio.
I can hear you guys.
Oh, good. There he is. I hear you now, Sal. We've joined, YouTube now. We got the video. People want to see my hair, that kind of thing. So it's always some interesting things. But hey, congratulations! The news came out today about your extension. I can now hear you. And man, you started in 1995 at ESPN. Congratulations on your deal. I'm more excited about this deal than the Micah Parsons new deal with the Packers.
Well, that's very nice of you, and it's nice of you to give me the opportunity to be on your show, Matt. We haven't talked in quite some time, and man, we got a big game tomorrow. I mean, it's a once-in-a-lifetime event in Philadelphia with the banner going up and Dallas visiting Philadelphia in week one. The last time that happened was 55 years ago, 1970, on the campus of the University of Pennsylvania at Franklin Field. So this is a big deal. Dallas week, as you know, in Philadelphia is, I like to say, it's not pomp and circumstance, it's madness and mayhem. And it's the fact that it's coming in September. It's the football gods have blessed us with Christmas in September, so it's really great. The Thursday night crew, and I know the town is geeked up for it. It's a big ticket. Those touchdown club seats in the end zone where you see Mike Trout or Aaron Boone or some of the baseball players or NBA players sitting. LeBron James has been there. Those seats are going for $5,000 and $6,000 right now. So there's Super Bowl prices on some of these tickets tomorrow night.
Sal, this Coach Sirianni, saying he's not going to have the players out there for the raising of the banner. Now, this is a new one on me. In NBA, other sports, for those ceremonies, the players are always out there enjoying that. It's a huge part of why they do it, for the players to get to see it. I guess this is Coach Sirianni's way of saying, hey, we're going to move on. We're not going to be out there. Sal, you've monitored, and that's kind of been a big story over the last 24 hours. Do you think this is well received by the players, or do you think there are a few players who are like, well, we did accomplish this huge thing. It'd be kind of fun to watch the banners go up watch the banner go up in the stadium. How do you feel like the players are reacting to Nick Sirianni making that statement?
Well, we haven't heard any dissension. We heard Cam Jurgens, Jordan Mailata, A.J. Brown yesterday talked about the fact that, the banner is not a big deal. If you're asking me personally what my thoughts are, I think it's a chance for the players to share the experience with the fans in a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Some of those younger players like Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, who were rookies last year, Zach Bond, who came out of nowhere as a linebacker, it's their first ring, and Jalen Hurts his first ring. And, as we all know, Matt, it's no guarantee you're going to get back. It's never a guarantee you're going to get back. So to suggest that you wouldn't derive pleasure or inspiration from sharing it with the fans seems out of place for me. It seems misguided. They've hit all the right notes, Sirianni, Roseman, and Lurie. When you go to the Super Bowl and win it in 52 and 59, and you've gone to 3 of them in 8 years, they've hit all the right notes, and Roseman is drafted well and all that. But I think, honestly, in my personal opinion, having covered this team for 33 years, raised my children in this area, been around for 40 years, understand the chip on the shoulder of the Philadelphia community. I think it's a big, big, fat swing and miss, frankly.
Wow. I tend to agree with you, and I appreciate that perspective. And if the Eagles can just go 30 years without going to a title game, they'll get a documentary, made about them. They'll get a huge Netflix. They've had too much success to get as many documentaries as the Dallas Cowboys have. Are people, Sal Powell, when it comes to Micah Parsons and how this whole thing went down, and I want your thought on this. are you? Is it almost amusing, do you think, to Eagles fans that the Cowboys would sit here and trade maybe their best player, maybe their most productive player, perhaps their most feared player? It almost, to me, some of the players' comments coming out of from the locker room, they almost seem kind of to chuckle about it. What's been that perspective? And then you personally, I want to hear your thoughts on the trade. Do you think it's crazy? Can you see why they did it? I wanted to kind of get your perspective on it.
Yeah, I think I have a wide perspective on it, Matt. First of all, it's obvious that it wasn't a plan. If it were a plan by the Cowboys, by Jerry and Stephen Jones, they would have traded him to an AFC team. Certainly Buffalo was interested. Certainly Baltimore could have been interested. In March, get the picks in 2025 and move on and just say, hey, we got to stop the run. B, we don't want to put that much money in one defensive player. We can get a boatload of A, B, and C from these guys. We think it will change our franchise. This is our plan. But let the drama play out the way that they did, it was, it was a detour, a major detour, a poisonous detour. That was a major distraction and drama throughout the summer. And I don't think that it helped the team at all, or can't possibly, when you're game planning for Micah Parsons. When Brian Schottenheimer says, with a week to go in the season, I expect Micah Parsons to be out there, and then bang, zoom, he's gone to Green Bay, an NFC rival. It just smells real bad. And, but the flip side of it, now, listen, if they had made a major argument, a reasoned argument to trade him in March and got, instead of 2 first-rounders, 3, and maybe some more other picks and a good player, young ascending player, which I think Micah Parsons is worth, there can be an argument made for taking the money and investing in a lot of other players. Because, like you said, the Cowboys have come up dry for so long, you can make that argument. So you look at the top 6 paid edge rushers. Go down the list, starting with Micah, T.J. Watt, Trey Hendrickson, Myles Garrett. I forget who else is on the list, but the top 6 edge rushers, only one of them made the playoffs last year, and that was T.J. Watt. They won 10 games. They were bounced out in the wild card round. The Eagles' top pass rusher is Nolan Smith Jr. He is the 53rd highest paid pass rusher in the league. 53rd. So Howie Roseman has figured it out 100%. That defense comes from the inside out. That offense comes from the inside out in today's National Football League. And the Cowboys are perhaps waking up to it, but I think they should have traded him earlier and made an argument to do it earlier and got a lot more for him. Right now, it just looks like a desperation move to move him to Green Bay because, you're coming in. Micah Parsons is one of the top 5 guys that you have to game plan for defensively in the NFL. Top 5. Lawrence Taylor type of, I guess I'm throwing around a big name. Maybe I shouldn't be. But Lawrence Taylor type of guy that you got a game plan for.
Yeah, and Sal, now they're claiming the run defense will be better, addition by subtraction, which, man, I know Jerry has to have his talking points, but that does not pass the smell test when you sit up there and trade somebody at this level and you start talking about the run defense. Sal, have you watched some of the Jerry documentary? And if you have, what did you think of Ed Werder's performance? He did work blue. There was an expletive he dropped on there. He's expressed regret on that a little bit to me, but have you watched some of it? And do you think Ed showed some pretty good versatility with some of his on-camera work?
I thought he was great. I thought he was fantastic. I loved. He dropped some sound bites in there, man. He was great, and I was watching it for him to pop up on the screen. It was terrific. Him and Goose sitting there. They carried the story for quite some time. I thought I liked it quite a bit. I thought that the documentary was very entertaining. I watched it with my wife Lynn, who thinks that Darryl Strawberry is the best NFL player of all time. So she's got she's got no real interest in football at all, but she really enjoyed it. She's met Jerry Jones a couple of times, and as you know, Jerry is, if nothing else, eternally charming, and he charmed her quite a bit. So she wanted to watch it, and we watched it together, and I thought it was really interesting. I thought there was stuff that was missing. If I'm just coming from a Philadelphia perspective, the name Buddy Ryan was not in there and should have been. I mean, how much Jimmy Johnson got tortured by those Buddy Ryan defenses. I thought that was a big miss. The fact that Michael Irvin was booed in Philadelphia when he was injured was a horrible thing. And I was surprised that was not in there. I thought Michael Irvin was terrific. Emmett was great. Michael Irvin saying we could have won 5 Super Bowls in a row. I stopped. I hit pause, and I said, "Wow, that's a big claim." I never heard him say that before, or anybody else within the Dallas Cowboys organization. And of course, the regret that the Niners must have for trading Charles Haley. You could just feel it when Jerry Rice talks about the missed opportunities that they had. But man, oh man, I would say, Matt, chapter 3 of that series was one of the most entertaining NFL films produced, or anybody produced NFL pro football documentaries. Chapter 3 was really spectacular, I thought.
Well, and you got to see a lot of that up close, and the whole the Eagles, the back and forth. I mean, people don't quite understand. Even Howie Roseman, by the way, his path has been so fascinating, even over the past decade or so. You think about how now he's kind of held as a genius, and it's accepted. And you think about for that one amount of time where he was relegated basically to a little cubicle and was just kind of barely hanging in there. And then of course, he was back in the power seat. This whole Eagles rise in the context of Jerry struggling so much over the years since Jimmy left and after Barry, it just fascinates me. And I remember one time being in Howie's office, and the Cowboys had come off a really good season, and he just spent. He said, "Look up at his whiteboard." And it was just the Cowboys too deep. It wasn't any other teams too deep. They were just, and so Sal, you know how much these two teams and organizations obsess about each other. And it must feel great to the Eagles right now to have so much of the upper hand. But they also have to be laughing at the fact that the Cowboys still get the huge headlines, despite year after year the lack of success. And I don't know if that bothers anybody particularly, but that's just the facts. That's just the way it is. But it is wild, isn't it, how Roseman has gone from the guy to not being the guy to now like made man in that town. I mean, what considered maybe the top 2 or 3 best executive in all the game.
Well, I don't know if you go on Instagram, but I have a very benign footprint in social media, and I do have an Instagram account. And I made a case over the summer that Howie Roseman is on track to go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He is only one of 2 general managers in pro football history to take 2 different coaches and 2 different quarterbacks and win 2 Super Bowls. And the other is Ozzie Newsome, and Ozzie's in the Hall of Fame. I think what Roseman has accomplished is Hall of Fame worthy, and he's still very young. His draft last year was a master class in restocking a defense with young players and every one of them just hit big. And the way he's drafted Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter and Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean is quite amazing. It really is. I mean, go back and watch Super Bowl 59 for a few minutes. The Eagles steamrolled the Chiefs, embarrassed them, blew out the building. Matt, listen, I didn't grow up here. I am not a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I'm not a fan of any team. I don't wear the gear of any team. But I'm a fan of excellence in sports. And the Eagles were up 27-0 and 40-6 on a team that was trying to three-peat as Super Bowl champs. They annihilated and embarrassed them. And having known Andy Reid his entire professional career, I picked him up at the airport here in Philadelphia when he got the job as the head coach in 1999 and drove him to his first press conference. So I've been around for a long time. He's got a quiet rectitude about him, and I am sure that they have spoken privately about how that game went and how much it motivates them to get back to the Super Bowl. And I do think they have the pieces in place to get back, even in a crazy, crazy competitive AFC. I think the Eagles, will have trouble defensively tomorrow night. I do. I've said it all summer long, letting Darius Slay just walk out the door without having a defined plan to replace him at left corner. They still haven't named the starting left corner. The competition has been, shall we say, uninspiring at that position this summer. And then to trade C.J. Gardner-Johnson for Kenyon Green, they cut him. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson, in my view, was a hugely important player in that Super Bowl run last year. Led the team in interceptions, great communicator, great trash talker, great tackler. Always in the right place at the right time. They're going to miss him on the back end. They really are. And again, they don't really have a defined plan to replace him at safety. And Fangio doesn't blitz. He did not blitz once in that Super Bowl against the Chiefs. What does that mean? That means you got to have superior secondary play. And, I know George Pickens has been a head case, but he's playing for money now. And he's got talent. And you got to be preoccupied with both those cats now, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Schottenheimer's a big believer in pre-snap motion. He'll try to hide Lamb in the slot. He's going to try to do everything he can confuse a secondary that still hasn't been solidified for Philadelphia. I expect Schottenheimer and Dak to throw the ball off the bus. They'll get egged on I-95 as they come in, and when they park the bus, they'll be talking about how much they're going to be throwing the football first quarter. I expect them to throw. I mean, here in Philly, what the cops do is they purposely stop the bus on the I-95 off ramp. Wait, we got to stop here for a second. Give the fans a stationary target for all those eggs that they throw at the bus. And it's so funny when the players get off the bus, they all look at me like, does that really still happen in the 21st century? I'm like, yeah, it really does still happen. Yes.
Well, and we were both there for the TO when he came back to town and some of the funerals.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. The funeral fire was something right out of Game of Thrones when he came back. My God, it was unbelievable. Oh my God. That was one of, that and the district attorney of the city of Philadelphia, Ed Rendell, throwing snowballs from the 700 level on Jimmy Johnson's head in 1989. And then, of course, 2 years later, even though Rendell was outed by my colleagues at the Philadelphia Inquirer at the time, Matt, 2 years later, Ed Rendell was elected mayor in a landslide, even though he was caught throwing snowballs from his 700 level. Only in Philly, baby. That's all I got to say. It's in my view, and I've been everywhere. It's the greatest sports town in America. Greatest fans and greatest. And why wouldn't you want to? And that's why I say, why wouldn't you want to celebrate the banner going up with the fans? You know, I have found raising 3 daughters and now 4 grandchildren, and been married for 47 years, that it's so hard to manage inspiration and expectations and emotions. That once you start getting in that business, you get into trouble. And you got to let people find their own inspiration from wherever it can come. And if you're a young player who's won his first Super Bowl and you derive so much emotional inspiration from the fans, and they all talk about it, right? What's the one thing they all talk about when they go into the Ring of Honor? Thank you, fans. That was one of the greatest things about the Netflix series with Jimmy Johnson finally getting in the Ring of Honor, man. I love Jimmy. He's so fantastic. What a great guy. Always liked him. But when they all thank the fans, they want to share it with the fans. They all say it. I've seen it everywhere. Eli Manning, Phil Simms, Bill Parcells in New York, here in Philadelphia, Brian Dawkins and Brian Westbrook and everybody and all those guys and it's going to happen to Jason Kelsey and Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox here. They all thank the fans. So why not share the banner going up with the fans? I think it's a missed opportunity. I do. I really do.
Well, I tell you, I love this opportunity. It's great catching up with you. And I was so happy when I saw you were, not that I ever thought you would stop, but that you were continuing on with ESPN and your 30th year with ESPN, 1995. And I lasted about 5 of those with you. At some point, you and we had a great time together. So boy, my hat's off to you. Have a great time tomorrow, and we'll be watching all your coverage. And I love seeing you're continuing on all your shows that you do. The matchup show is a great one. But just congratulations, Sal Pao, and I really appreciate you doing this.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity to be on your show, Matt. When I got the text from you this morning, I had a laugh, and I said, I got to catch up with my man, Matt. And it's very nice to visit with you. And thank you for the invitation. And hopefully you'll get up to Philadelphia and we'll go out to 10th and Diamond and have some pasta.
I would love that. You once gave me a chance to come over to the swimming pool, and I should have taken you up on it. It's all you needed was Mosley in the Sal Pao swimming pool. But I do remember that, and I've regretted not taking you up on that.
Oh my God! Well, the thing you missed was my wife's raviolis. That was the thing that really.
Yeah.
That was talk about major swing and miss. I mean, if you ever come back. You got to come to the Paolantonio Hacienda, sit poolside, and have ravioli like they do in the old country.
That's right. They'll be playing some of that Sicilian music. Yes, I love it. All right, well, have a great one, and we'll be watching on TV for all your pregame, all your reporting, and congratulations again. Thanks, Sal.
All right, my brother.
There you go, Sal Paolantonio, the legendary reporter for ESPN on the Matt Mosley show on Rogue Media Network. And Scotty, that is a good way to end things.